Well, we are here with the one and only Joseph Sipp. You guys know him. If you haven't been living under a rock, you definitely have seen Joseph and his amazing team at Systematic Home Staging there in Orlando and the surrounding areas, just rock and roll in all that they do. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you for having me, Jenna.
Well, I know we've been talking. You're one of the ones that we literally continuously talk, and I know we have been very vocal and to each other during this time that when the transition that we've been in. So tell me how the crisis and kind of coming out of crisis as we're all kind of moving forward, have you seen this impact the Orlando and real estate and home staging arenas?
Yeah, no, definitely. So a little bit of how we pivoted, from the beginning, I was like, I worked so hard, to get to this point, and I'm not letting a damn virus put us out of business. So I was like, you have two options. You just sit here and wait for the business to come to you, which I don't do, or you go and get the business. And that's kind of what I did, is we went out and got the business. So, that's kind of like what we did for the whole crisis thing. And it worked so well. We had one of the record-breaking weeks within this whole crisis thing. We usually secure, 10 to 15 a week. And in the 1 week that it was really bad, supposedly in the Orlando, Florida area, we secured 32. So it was literally a record-breaking, crazy week once we launched our new promotion that we started.
Yeah. And, the question becomes like, whenever we are obviously in the middle of crisis, it's new for all of us, and really understanding, okay, what can we do? What are we allowed to do? How's real estate? Because I know we were all kind of shut down for a moment until we figured out, okay, what's essential? Are we considered essential within that real estate world? And then once we did get the green light in the areas that we could, what can we now be responsible in? What can we be safe in? So how did you decide? You obviously saw real estate was still moving and going forward in Orlando, which meant that you needed to continue to move.
Yeah.
But how did you have that conversation with the team, and how were you guys responsible and safe in moving forward?
Yeah, no, definitely. So with our company, we have two attorneys that work with our team. We have two retainer attorneys, and we actually reached out to them, and I was like, hey, Travis, what do we do? And he's one of our business attorneys that works for us. And he was just like, let me check. So he reached out to the local officials, and we actually got in contact with the mayor in Orlando, the mayor's attorney for the Orange County, I don't know what it's called, something along those lines, in Seminole County. So we actually were in contact with their attorneys, and they said we are deemed essential. Everything's good because we are providing essential services to the real estate industry. So that was kind of our leeway. And what we did, we took that and ran with it. I was like, oh, I'm not going to ask any more questions. He said we're essential, so we're essential. Let's go. So what we did is we just had him write us a quick letter. We printed them out. We had a team meeting on Friday, and we just laid out everything. We had our employee relations advisor, HR, come in and talk to everyone and kind of lay everything out for them and let them know what options they have. We didn't force them all to work. We said, these are your options. You guys have, your 2 weeks of paid time off. You take it and you can be off for the 2 weeks, or you continue to work and you keep your 2 weeks paid time off down the road. So all of them chose to come in and work, besides two of our logistics that were younger. They still, lived at home with their parents, and their parents didn't want them to come to work. So totally understand, but we were still rocking and rolling. We gave everyone masks. They had custom masks that were branded with our logo that were double pane something, all that fancy technology that they have now. I don't know what it was, but it was dual pane of
carbon. Exactly. Yes.
All that random stuff. It was in the mask for them. We provided them all with the PPP, personal protective equipment, their masks, their face guards, gloves, cleaning supplies, Clorox wipes, everything like that we provided them with. And then they just signed off saying that they've had no symptoms. They signed off saying that they are willing to work. They have everything in line. If we do see symptoms, they are being sent home. And everything's going well so far. Our office team, we've transitioned them into Zoom calls. So every morning at 9 o'clock, we start a Zoom call, and then we kind of dispatch and keep our Zoom call rolling, and then they go off at 5 o'clock. So that's really how we pivoted. At the beginning, we were just all like, okay, now we have to stay at home. What do we do? And I was like, okay, well, let's start a promotion. Let's do something fun. So the way I looked at it is people were selling houses, the housing market, because interest rates were so low, everything was just selling. So it's like my warehouse was it was sickening how full it was. And I was like, I'd rather be giving discounted staging than giving out full price staging, and these people aren't hiring us. I was like, I'd rather get this furniture out one way or another, which, people will say good or bad about that. But for our company, it worked because I was like, we have no more room. So we went from 103 stages to 80 stages literally within a week. So I was like, this is not good. So we launched a promotion. We gave literally like almost 45 to 50% off our stagings, and everything was out. And now we're back at our normal rate of our warehouse, about 5 to 6 houses in bay, and we're able to operate normal. But before, I was like, we have to do something. And that's kind of where we pivoted for our clients, and they literally ate it up like cake. So it worked really well.
Yeah, that's so good. And when we're thinking about what I love about you, by the way, I'm just looking at one of the screens. Yes, vacant job in. And, here's the thing. You were able to say, you and I talk, right?
Yeah,
We're like, let's pre-book stagings. If we cannot physically get out now, let's just block the calendar, because we know it's only going to come in. It's a matter of time. And like, can we keep those that want to work, that feel safe working, under some of course restrictions there, but let's keep the ball moving forward. And I know that we're all in different areas of the U.S. We're all facing different situations and crisis. So now it's all about, like you said, we have to keep the doors open. How can we do that responsibly? And I know you guys are so fast forward on social media. And did you slow up on that? Were you afraid that people were going to see you work, in other areas and, kind of put you guys down for it, which isn't right either, right? You're responsible. Your team is responsible. You are getting advice, legal advice. They are checking in. So, what, obviously you didn't let that stop you, but were you a little afraid or concerned? Or are you like, to each their own, we're going to all be responsible? I mean, what was your approach to that?
My approach to it was, honestly, it's my business. I'm going to do what I want with it at the end of the day. Obviously, I'm not sending my team out there just, touching all the doors, licking the floors of the kid. Like, they're not doing that. They're smart. They have a brain to them. So we just gave them extra equipment, extra protection, just to make sure that we were covering all of our grounds as a company, because that's the last thing you want is to come back. It's a different story when you're just like, oh, I'm assuming I'm essential, or I'm assuming I can go back to work. That's a totally different story. We had written letters from, state and local officials saying that we are able to work and literally had our name printed on it, systematic home staging, able to continue operating. And we did get a lot of feedback, not just locally, but all over. We're like one of the only staging companies in Orlando that were operating during this time. So it was a good thing for us because we had the tools and the people to get us in connections with them. So, we obviously got a lot of, voice, and both people were very vocal about it, not just here and all over. And I was just like, I don't know what to say at the end of the day. It works for us. I mean, I understand that there's other areas that you can operate and other restrictions where you can't, but I was like,
for us here, we feel comfortable, safe, moving forward.
Exactly. And I told them exactly what we were doing. And I gave, the people that called and reached out, I told them the kind of like the offers we were doing for our clients and what we were doing. And one of the main things that we were doing, we had one girl, Taylor in our office, our client care coordinator. She went through our whole list of clients and literally called each and every single one of them. And it was just like, hey, how's everything going? How's your real estate career going? Or if it was a builder, how's all of your, all of the money out on the ground, we call it, is the new construction lots. We're like, how is all that going? And then we asked them, what's one of the goals that you want to achieve once, this whole pandemic's over? And we would write that down, put it in their file. And then 30 days after the pandemic, we'll call them back and say, so how is your goal that you wanted to achieve? How is that working for you? How can we help with that? You wanted to sell $1 million in a month. Well, we can help with staging. We just sold one down the street from, your listing for $50,000 over asking. Why don't we come out? So we weren't really using it as a sales tactic. We were more using it as a connection to be a local business helping the community out, but it really actually turned in tenfolds to business coming through the door.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And to be able to now be ahead of the game, once now we start releasing, we start going back into production for a lot of people, and to be able to build relationships. And are you seeing any part of your business that has had to pivot? Are you guys doing things a little differently with that you were doing maybe not so much before, but now are you doing things that that help with the challenges that your clients are having? You've had to pivot, maybe a few conversation services, any of that?
We started doing online consultations that worked, but then it didn't really work in the long run. So it's kind of like we pivoted to an online source, and it was like, okay, we now need to pivot this way with our online source. So we were doing FaceTime consultations, but then it was like, how do we get the pictures from the FaceTime consultation to our field team, our stagers, when it was it was like, it wasn't working. So then we started taking screenshots while we were like, okay, now stand at the front door. We took a screenshot. Then we said, okay, now stand in the the doorway of the bedroom. We took a screenshot, and then we put those in the client's full file. But before, we were like, okay, we just did a consultation. We have a quote, but we totally forgot to take pictures of it. How are we going to get it to the next department to pull it? So that was one of the problems that we saw, like, that we faced. Another problem was the people on the job site. People, landscapers, anyone loves to be on job sites. And before, we were very lenient. We're like, okay, if you're on the job site, you can be outside. Just make sure you have a clear path. Please just don't come in. Whatever, we're very nice. But now it's, if you're in the house, we're not staging, and you're paying a cancellation fee. So we really hit the hammer on that when it's been in our contract forever, and people really didn't listen. But this time it was like, okay, well, now it's something totally different where it's the safety of our team now. So whenever we had someone on the job site, our team would go sit in their vehicles, and then we would give the client a 10-minute window to say, you need to leave, or whoever's on the job site needs to leave, or we will have to come back and charge that $750 cancellation fee.
Yeah, that's great. Two places that you could hopefully put in place, as we continue to move forward, especially hopefully people are going to honor that we don't need to be in the property while we're there, because we know it slows us down, and we know that it can be, for the safety and health and efficiency of our team, like get in, get out. I know you guys run a big production, and when you're doing volume staging, that is so every minute counts. And
literally every minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what do you see, like this, has this impacted your goals? Has it impacted some of the things that you set forth in strategy, maybe at the beginning of the year? Have you had to do like a new looking at new opportunities, new threats, as you guys move in weeks, months down the road? Do you see this, do you see your business just thriving and maybe new opportunities? Has it made you think outside of the box? I mean, what do you anticipate the next few weeks and months looking like?
I think it's going to be absolutely insane. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I get goosebumps just talking about it, because I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So during this whole time, we've really done a good job of really highlighting our key players, where before, Jana, we went through a whole huge transitioning period. We literally fired within 5 people within like a week and a half, like 5 of them, just because they weren't the right fit, and they were just causing a lot of problems. And once we got rid of them, and once we got the right people in, and during this whole crisis is when we really saw them like literally shine like a star to us. It really opened your eyes as to, okay, maybe if you do have the right team, it actually does work. Maybe Jana was right about that. When you do have the right people working for you, it works. And it really opened my eyes up to the right people that you have working for us. For me, I don't even have to check in with them anymore. Sue Ann, my director of operations, she has them on Zoom. Everything's fine. So now I know I can step out. Like, I've stepped out a lot lately for that. And that's one thing that really opened my eyes to that. Another thing, that I think is going to set us back in our goals is we were in the expansion mode. So we were, carving out, we had everything ready to go at the beginning of March, and then all of a sudden this all happened. So it was kind of like, okay, pump the brakes, and it kind of worked great, because then we were able to train this person even more before we brought her on board to launch our new locations. And then it was like, okay, perfect. And then we hired another person on during this time to bring on to our other location as well. So we literally have 2 people that are like almost, I would say maybe 90% trained right now that can run a location for us. So right now it's just, we're in holding pattern just to see what's next. We have everything lined up for our next locations. And it's just, I think that's the downtime really helped us to hone in and focus on, okay, if we did launch in March, what would have been our little loopholes that we would have faced that we wouldn't have known about? Or what we kind of were like role playing with our operation. We're like, well, how would you answer this call? Who would you ask? Who would you go to for this? What kind of questions that? So it really gave us that time to really, pick apart our business and then put it back together like operations. So I think that time worked out. And I think once this is all done, it's like I said, it's just going to be insanely busy because we literally pre-booked so many people. Like we had builders and investors that were pre-banking, like they would purchase our staging packages and keep them on file for whenever they need them. So we technically know that there's one investor that we work with, Jesse. He purchased 4 packages. So that was almost $7,000 he purchased right there, literally in one day sitting. And I know we're going to use them sometime within the next year.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait. So when people are contracting, you're expanding, you're planning for expansion. And that's great. Thinking about, okay, if I were to have this business in a box, what would I need to create a new box, so that they can open up the box and start in the location, right? What needs to be in the box, what training videos, all of those great things, what people.
All of our training stuff, like our Google Drive is literally like gold. Like it's like color coded. You click it on onboarding, it has onboarding videos, onboarding paperwork, onboarding like role play videos, onboarding like on the job, then HR, all of this stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, Jenna would be so proud.
That is awesome. And you bring up a really good point. I think as business owners, as we're, committing to moving forward in different ways and really assessing our team that we currently have, or maybe that we had, that we were not able to keep them on, and now we're going to have to think about, a restart. And so how important is it? Can you imagine going through this with the wrong team? Like, how important is it to get the right team members?
Right now. I could never imagine. Honestly, like to have the right people is, I can't even tell you.
It's priceless.
And when you have the right person, when you just tell them once and they literally have a binder, like they're like, okay, that's going to go on their website. And they flip to their binder and I'm like, I don't even have that. Like our new marketing girl we just hired, like she has a binder and each tab of each thing. Like I'll be like, oh, website. And she's like, oh, pull to the website and write down everything I say about the website so she doesn't have a big long list of notes. Because I walk past her and I'm like, oh, I need this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Where she's very organized. So before we didn't have someone like that. So it's just very like our marketing was very hodgepodge. So with her, just finding those right people is, it's so important.
It is. It absolutely. We always say, who got you here won't get you there. And so then you may have started out with someone, and, if we can hire people that are better than us in certain areas, and really departmentalizing, so that you can be very strategic in the growth. And have you been one of those business owners that's had to have your hand in everything, or would you rather be the one that trains and trusts? I mean, how have you kind of let go of some certain areas of your business and been able to grow?
Yeah. So I used to be like, it was so bad. I would be like, okay, what did that person say? Write it down. Like I would literally, when I had my first girl work for me in the office, I would have her every single person she spoke to, like literally word for word, the conversation she had. Because everything that happened when I first started my business was a very bad trust issue. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. This person could be a scam. This person could be like, getting all my information. So I was like, I need every information, every person you talk to, the time, date, stamp it, sign it, everything. And then it kind of happening where it was like, that was a waste of time. I'm paying them to document a phone call when they need to transfer that into a sale. So now it's like I've really stepped out of the business, and it's now I know if I get an email in my email box, okay, perfect, that's going to go to office side. Okay, that's going to go to marketing, where it's not me like, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone and then relay the message to them. It's like I'm going to let them pick it up.
Yes.
If it's important enough, relay the message to me, then I will take the ball and go with it to where it needs to go. So that really was a big, pivotal moment for me. And like I said, during this whole crisis thing, it really opened my eyes up to, okay, maybe I really don't need to do it. And that's when everyone's like I told them, I was like, I feel like I'm in a box. I feel like I've been doing the same thing too long, and I just get tired of it. I want to go do something different, start new things, and just start going. So having those people and training them the right way will get you literally to the next level, which it's doing right now.
Yeah, you're right. You've had to fast forward into that mode, and now you've been able to duplicate yourself in so many people. And now we'll be in locations as you guys move forward. So, well, give me one final thought of encouragement that you would love to pour in or deposit into maybe our home staging business owners. Maybe somebody that's a small business owner out there. I mean, what would be a good nugget for them?
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say, I'm one to go get the business. Like I cannot sit still. Like I have ADD. it's just so bad. So I need to go, 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 go. So my understanding is, during this pandemic and all this stuff, I was just so used to people calling and stuff, and it starts to slow down. I was like, no, you're going to go get the business. So if you don't, and when you're owning a business, it's not easy. Changes happen. If you cannot pivot yourself to what the changes are going, like for example, these stores that are now doing takeout, you put the food in the microwave and it's good. And I'm like, you were paying $130 for a steak that night, but now you can warm it up in the microwave for half the price. It's like, and I can guarantee you they're going to continue doing it. So to pivot and then open up new services for your clients and do new things for your clients that they're like, oh my gosh, that's insane, to now, okay, perfect, I'm going to start charging for that service and making more money out of it once this is over, because the clients love that and they're going to expect that, and you're going to charge a price for that. So that's something that I really would say the one takeaway that I would do would be, if you can't pivot, find some way to pivot your business to start something new. Because if you don't, you're not going to be bulletproof and fireproof, and you're going to really crumble at the end of the day. So, and that's not what we want anything to happen. So
yeah, you're right. Listen to our clients, listen to what they want, figure out how we make it easier for people to work with us, and we can be a predictable result for them. It's like, it's hard to really predict or them to predict what our pricing is and our services are. At least if that's not your business model, try to find a product that is predictable. It's easy for them to order. It's easy for them to work with you, and you're right. That makes us more bulletproof, more fireproof when, not if, another crisis comes down the road, right?
Exactly. Like the way I tell my team is like, we never let a client hang up the phone and not get some type of service out of them or their information. At the end of the day, we want a service for everyone. Oh, what's your budget? $100. Perfect. We'll do a walk and talk for you. It's 30 minutes on an hour. Like, we want them in the door because that's more people that we're exposed to and more clientele. We give them their business card. Oh, they did a great job. And that's kind of how we've trained our team, is don't let anyone hang up the phone without getting a service out of them.
Yeah, something for everyone at the right price, meeting their needs. That's so good. Well, Joseph, we cannot wait to see you again in person, hopefully sooner than later, and looking forward to watching you guys grow. I know, we're ready, huh?
Like, when am I going to see everyone? It's all over like computer. But thank you for having me. And if anyone has questions, I'm here to help.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.